Kai, a weak child, spends his days in his village surrounded by fierce battles and harsh adventures. As his comrades fall one by one in the fight, something strange happens to him. He draws a supernatural power from a world with advanced technology and becomes the strongest sorcerer in the city. Our episode begins with an epic battle between the villagers and those terrifying beasts. It was a truly intense fight. Then we see a red-haired boy named Kai standing beside another young man named Manso. They join forces to strike one of the monsters, but the beast hits them both with a powerful blow, knocking them to the ground. Soon they're surrounded from all sides. Just when Kai is about to be killed, a swordsman appears out of nowhere and slays the monster instantly. He introduces himself as Oliha. Then he unleashes his full power, glowing with a radiant light, and begins slaying the monsters one after the other. Everyone is shocked by his immense strength. In the end, he faces the final monster, one that bears the same emblem, and defeats it with a single blow. The villagers celebrate their victory, cheering that the monster apes have been defeated and the rest have fled. Afterward, they collect special stones that activate their powers and magic. They give a complete one to Oliha, as he was the one who saved them from this great danger. You could say it's like a power drink. When they drink from it, they feel their strength multiply many times over. Kai wants to drink more, but his friend Manso warns him, saying, "That's not allowed. After all, we're just soldiers." Then Lord Basco arrives and tells Kai these stones will be handed to the strongest warrior, the one who protected this village and kept it safe. That evening, the king, or rather the village chief, addresses them. He tells them how much the village has suffered from humanoid beast attacks, but thanks to their courage and efforts, they've protected Log Village for another day. He expresses how proud he is of them. They all feast joyfully, but the food is distributed according to rank. The weakest get a tiny portion, while the leaders and high-ranking warriors get large servings. Everyone receives food based on their strength and position. After that, we see Kai going through intense training, trying to get stronger, but he collapses, saying, "I'm weak because I'm hungry." At that moment, his friend Manso comes to him and they start talking. Then, they spot the graves in the distance. Kai tells Manso, "One day we'll die. No one will help us except our own deeds. That's why I think we should prepare for that hard day. But until that day comes, I have to get stronger. No one should be able to beat me. With enough training, I can do anything. But to stay alive, I need something else. Something that can help me win battles. Something I don't fully understand. An incredible power, a terrifying strength." Manso looks at him and says, "My friend, you're saying some strange things I've never heard before." The scene then shifts to a white-haired girl named Josie. She's walking with her brother, the swordsman Oliha. They're talking about battle. She wants to become a warrior too, but he tells her it's not allowed. Josie gets upset and says, "If only I were a man, I would achieve glorious victory. But alas, there's nothing she can do about it." The scene shifts once again to Manso and Kai as they're training in swordsmanship. Kai falls to the ground, but suddenly he begins to see strange visions, as if he's in another world, or perhaps experiencing some kind of magical power. What's strange is that he hasn't told anyone about this power he might possess. Perhaps he's about to gain an incredible strength, because these visions have taught him many things. Meanwhile, the scene moves to the village chief, who has just received a message saying that the herd has appeared in the forest, specifically heading west. This means the next battle will take place in the village of Banya. Oliha says, "As per our agreement, we must head there immediately. Yesterday it was the macaque, and now it's the erg." Moloch replies, "But haven't our soldiers had any time to rest?" Oliha answers, "It is a soldier's duty to fight and shed blood to defend this land, no questions asked." Moloch says, "You're right, but every villager is one of my children." Then the scene cuts back to Kai, sitting in his room talking to himself. It's not normal for fire to shoot out of someone's fingers. What was my friend talking about? His friend responds, "You're daydreaming again, huh?" Kai says, "It might not be just a dream. A long time ago, there was a monk named Ryan in a pitch-black place. There was no light, no fire. He raised his finger, and a flame came out of it. He used it as a torch. I heard that story when I was a kid." The next morning, Kai wakes up and walks through the city, thinking about what his friend told him, that magic allows fire to come from your fingers. Now he really wants to try it. He remembers that magic consumes magical energy, but it seems this power can be obtained by gathering the mysterious forces of the world. "This world I live in is full of mysterious energy," he says to himself. "I have spiritual energy, it's inside all of us, and it gets stronger when we eat the stones." Kai heads to a quiet place and tries to make fire come from his fingers. He wonders, how can I gather spiritual energy? He starts to feel warmth in his chest, right where his magic stone is located. He tries again, but it doesn't work. Nothing happens. Then the scene shifts to the forest, where we see that the monsters have killed many soldiers and hung them in the trees. The villagers say, "The Urg is watching us from deep within the forest." Suddenly, a soldier shouts, calling everyone to formation. The soldiers prepare and launch an attack. A bloody battle erupts. They kill many of the monsters. One of the beasts charges toward Kai, but his friend jumps in just in time to save him. Oliha then appears, charging at one of the monsters and killing it in a single strike. The rest of the creatures see him and flee in fear. Afterward, Kai and his friend retreat to the base to recover and check on each other. Then, the man speaks and instructs all the squads to split up and run, because the monsters can't chase everyone at once. "We need as many of us as possible to survive," he shouts. The soldiers scatter in all directions, fleeing desperately from the monsters. Kai runs into the forest alone, breathing heavily, eyes scanning the trees. Suddenly, a voice echoes around her. "Stop hiding and come out," she panics. Desperate, she tries her fire magic once again, but it still doesn't work. Frustration fills her chest. Suddenly, a monstrous figure hurls a dagger at her and charges in. It grabs her by the neck, lifting her off the ground. Gasping, Kai struggles, eyes burning with determination. "I refuse to die. I want to live. My spiritual energy." And at that moment, her finger ignites with fire. She thrusts her flaming hand into the monster's face. Boom! It goes up in flames, collapsing to the ground, dead. Kai stares in awe at the fire still flickering in her palm. "I did it! I actually did it!" Joy floats her face, but it quickly turns to panic. The flames are still burning uncontrollably. She staggers back, dizzy, and falls to the ground. Her body feels suddenly cold. Am I going to die? Or can I stop this? Thinking quickly, she recalls something. Spiritual energy flows like water. To stop it, I need a drain. I have to block the drain. Stop the water in its channel. She focuses deeply and manages to suppress the energy just enough. But then, the monster, badly burned, stands up again, still alive. It lunges and grabs her, but Kai pulls out her sword and slashes it. The two of them fall together, plunging into the water below. And that's how today's episode ends. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss what happens next. Then we see Kai emerge from the sea, very tired, crawling towards the org. He stands on it, opens his stomach with a knife, and takes out the stone inside. Kai then realizes that his spiritual energy is depleted, and if he eats this thing, he will regain his strength. Kai drinks, and his body begins to glow. This is the first time he has eaten a complete magic stone. He looks at his wound, but the bleeding never stops, and he realizes his time is up and he will die. Then we see Mansu sitting alone after the battle ends. His friend approaches him and asks where the little boy who was always with him is. Mansu doesn't answer, and deep sadness appears on his face. In the morning, we see Kawi wake up, surprised because he thought he had died. When he looks at his wound, he sees that it has healed and doesn't hurt at all. How is that? Is it because he ate the org stone, or what? Then he sees that wall with strange symbols etched on it. He uses fire magic and blows up the wall, but the magic was so strong that it threw him far away onto the ground near the lake. When Kawi gets up and looks at his face in the lake, he sees a strange symbol on his face, which is a sign of a guardian. Then the symbol disappears from his face again. Kai returns to the etched wall as he has never seen those letters and symbols before. Then Kai decides to go back to the others. When he climbs the mountain to leave, the symbol appears on his face again, and the stone under his hands crumbles and falls to the ground. Then he picks up another stone, and it shatters into small pieces. At that moment, Kai realizes he has immense power. He climbs the mountain again very quickly and realizes that the power he has gained will be more impressive than magic. He decides not to tell anyone for now. Then he returns to his village and starts working with his companions. While working in the fields, Kawi realizes that he has completed a large part of the work in a very short time without realizing it. Then he sits with his companions, and they ask him what's wrong. Why is he so strong? Kai tells them that he ate a magic stone until he was full. During the battle in Banya village, a large number of orgs were killed in the forest, and he ate dozens of magic stones. Mansu tells him that he knows someone whose physique is enormous after eating many of those stones. How can Kawi's body be the same size, but his strength has multiplied so greatly? Kai tries to change the subject so he doesn't tell them the truth. Then we see Josie asking the worker how the preparations are going. He tells her that everything is fine. The remote lands, like theirs, are barren, but he was able to plant many crops there. Thanks to the good deeds of the Baron, he was able to do that. His power makes the city fertile. Then we return to Kawi as he tries to practice magic. When he casts fire magic, it shoots from his finger for the first time without him feeling any depletion of his spiritual energy. Suddenly, Josie appears and asks him what he is doing here. He gets nervous, puts his hands behind his back and tries to leave. Josie stops him and asks what he was doing here and what is on his finger. Cowie tells her that he tried to create fire magic as an ability he had heard of before, and succeeded. Josie tells him that he must have the qualifications of a power user, as they are people who use mysterious and seemingly impossible abilities, and this is what they call members of special families. Then she tells him that she heard he became so strong after eating many magic stones, and if this really happened, then he is stronger in various aspects and was not affected after using an ability like this because he has more spiritual energy than the energy he took from the magic stone. Then Josie asks him to engage in a training fight with her, and they start practicing fighting together. After the training ends, Kai looks at his face in the water and realizes that the symbol did not appear during his training with Josie, so he faced her without exerting his full strength. Josie calls him and asks him to bring water. Josie then calls out to Kai to give her the towel. When Kai gives it to her, he tells her that he thought all shield bearers were equally strong. Josie replies that she is still weak, as her father and brother are much stronger than her. She explains that the strength of a shield bearer varies depending on the strength of their ruler, but the shield bearer themselves must also train and become stronger, as she still lacks. Kai tells her that she doesn't need much training. When Josie doesn't understand his meaning, she gets angry because he implies that women don't need to become strong since they are not forced to fight. She then tells him that shield bearers are the guardians of the land and that there is always a time when they must fight. Shield bearers naturally become stronger to win battles, but that is not the only reason. At that moment, they hear the sound of a whistle, and Josie immediately leaves because everyone has woken up and she doesn't want anyone to see her, as her father doesn't know she trains like this. Kai asks her about her meaning that winning battles isn't the only reason. She replies that she will be cleaning the monthly tombs soon and asks him to come with her so she can tell him, as she can't explain now. Kai agrees. Then, we see Josie walking in the procession towards Aida village, as the leader warns those with him to be vigilant, because Aida village is a monkey territory these days. We then see Kai walking with his friend, saying he heard that their squad was tasked with escorting Josie because she personally requested it. Mansu replies that this is impossible, as Josie doesn't know who Kai is. One of the men says that some people believe rumors. After they arrive at the village, Kai talks to his friends about it, saying it used to belong to the Moloch family, who were forced to abandon it after repeated humanoid attacks. However, a tombstone still exists here, and they must not neglect to offer their condolences to the dead. The village is completely destroyed, and no one is here to plow it. The land has become barren and doesn't yield anything suitable for cultivation. Josie immediately comes to Kai and Flynn, asking Flynn if she can take a look around the village and that she wants Kai to accompany her. She takes him with her, and Kai asks her where they are going. She doesn't answer but tells him to calm down as she was praying for the land to be restored. Only shield bearers connected to the land can do that, as he has seen before. This village was abandoned, and as the shield bearer of this village, she is very weak, and all she can do now is maintain this small flower garden. For example, the crops in Log village grow well because her father is strong. It is very important for the ruler of the land to be strong. Her father never neglects his training to remain strong, which is why they eat a lot of stones. Shield bearers who have contracted with rulers receive more favor the more powerful they become, and this makes their land fertile. But this makes the earth's monsters stronger, so you don't become stronger to win battles. Then, this man says, there's nothing unusual inside. This person then tells those people, Squad 1 will stay here to guard the area, while the rest of us will go down with Josie. After that, they descend into the cave and Josie helps them clear this thing. Then, Kai says, this is the tombstone of the Earth Realm. This writing was also on the stone in the valley. Then Kai helps them and places his hands on the stone, reading, I am Idaline, your servant. I serve the realm of Lagdaratoka. I can read it when I touch it. Kai tries to read the rest of the words but can't. Then Kai says to Josie, I didn't realize you were becoming strong for Aida village. Josie replies, I hope that one day I can rebuild Aida village. I received Idaline's protection from the Earth Realm, which makes me responsible for this land. I will become stronger and reclaim this village. I will plant all kinds of crops and make the flowers I love bloom. Many people will live here. This is my wish and my responsibility. These people rejoice, saying to her, allow us to join you when you do that. Then Kai says to himself, a shield bearer has a responsibility towards the land and the people. This person comes down to them, saying, there's something coming from afar, and it's coming from behind. We think it's a macaque. After that, this man talks to Mansu, telling him, let your squad accompany Josie and escape from the front. Move quickly and hide. Then Josie comes out and asks Flynn to fight with her, but he refuses her request, saying, you are very important. You must return safely to Log village. You don't have real combat experience. He asks her to leave. We see Josie sad from his words, saying, she is a shield bearer. Then the monsters come and surround them from everywhere. Josie wants to attack them, but Kai comes and strikes the monster with his sword, killing it. This thing appears on his face, and when Josie sees it, she is very surprised. Then Kai goes to her to check if she is alright. This is the end of today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all the latest updates. Then we see Palahi talking to his sister, scolding her for what happened, telling her she could have died in that moment. He says to her, "You don't realize this now. You don't realize the meaning of your life. You must protect your life, Josie. Women don't need to fight. Women should just go home, cook, and wash." Here, that huge man with a thick mustache, Vagine, gets angry and says, "The most important thing now is that you are all right. As for you, Poliha, an inspector from the Central Plains will come soon, so you must inform the soldiers." Then Poliha leaves, and Josie apologizes to Vijayan, her father, saying, "I'm sorry, father. I won't do this again." Here, the father realizes she was with Kai, who is a new recruit capable of defeating Macaque alone. He says, "I am very excited to see what he will do in the future. That boy has great potential indeed." The scene shifts to Kai as he plays with his friends. They know he was a true hero in Aida village, and they say to him, "You are so great. How did you defeat that monster alone? Your fame has spread throughout the small town. Young and old know what you did, Kai. Come on, tell us what that power is." Even the girls watch him and say, "This is the boy who defeated Macaque alone." At that moment, Josie comes and takes him, as she wanted to discuss something with him. Then she thanks him for what he did for her in Aida village. "I came to you now to talk about the fear that appeared on your face that day. When you faced the enemy, you froze. I realized that just being strong isn't enough for a woman. I need courage and a brave heart to use it. So, starting from this morning or tomorrow morning, I will train daily, very hard. I will train harder than before. So I expect you to join me, Kai." He says to her, "Okay." At that moment she leaves, and then that girl comes to him and gives him that dish. He asks her, "Is this for me?" She tells him that everyone asked her to give it to him. He thanks her, then drinks from it and finds it really delicious. That girl is called Elisa, but her mother calls her, and she leaves quickly after that. Suddenly his friend comes, and Kai is surprised to find him beside him. That wonderful friend says to him, "Hello, Kai. It's Mansu. Do you remember me, boy?" Kai tells him, "How could I forget you, Mansu? You are my best friend." Then they hear the whistling sound of a bird, and Kai feels like he has heard that call before. Yes, he heard it in that valley. He says, "I wish I could go there." Then evening comes and they go to sleep. Kai hears that whistling sound again in his sleep. He gets up, then goes outside and heads to the valley, moving very fast, like Tarzan. His jumps are very quick. He becomes like the wind. Then he jumps into the valley and into the water pool, feeling very happy. Then he sees the bird that was calling, so he goes quickly and sees the inscriptions, but he cannot read them. Then he cleans that wall and leaves the place. Kai continues running through this forest, where the darkness is intense, yet he can see clearly. He then sits on a rock to rest a little and eat some of the delicious fruits. This forest is rich in water and food, and Kai wishes he could live here forever, but he knows he needs to build a house here. First, he needs to cut down some trees, so he runs towards a very large tree to cut it. He doesn't know how to cut it, so he decides to use magic. Indeed, he uses fire magic and the tree catches fire. Kai quickly tries to extinguish it, then thinks of an alternative idea to magic as it's not useful for this. When he was able to use fire magic, he imagined it first, so he should imagine another type of magic. Cutting something means breaking the bonds between molecules, so Kai decides to do that. He is not breaking the tree now, but rather loosening the bonds at the gap, so he needs to pass a hidden blade between the molecules. At that moment, he senses a sound around him and goes to see what's happening. Afterwards, he finds a group of people intending to enter the valley, so he runs towards them to stop them. The people try to attack him, but their leader stops them. The leader then speaks to Kai and introduces himself as Boric, the leader of the Curer people. Kai is surprised because he has never seen the Curer race before. The leader then tells him that they speak the human language fluently. The leader replies that it's due to their interaction with human traders, as it seems humans consider their handicrafts valuable merchandise. He then apologizes to Kai for wanting to enter a forbidden area without permission, explaining that they came to this place to plead and request the ancient agreement of the Great Valley. They then sit around the fire and the leader continues, saying that the Kuror people lived peacefully in the forest, but several days ago, the Orc Pig soldiers attacked them in an attempt to seize their land. Their weak race has no means to fight them. They were driven out of the land they had lived in for years and are now fugitives. He then praises Kai for saving them from their predicament, and calls him The Arbiter. Kai doesn't understand him, so the leader explains that the Arbiter possesses great power surpassing that of all monsters and protects all creatures. Kai replies with astonishment that he knows nothing about such great things. One of the Kururs says that he also doesn't believe he is a true Arbiter, as he heard that the Arbiter was a fierce warrior who imposed harsh punishments on people, and this small human cannot be such a great legendary figure. However, the leader believes him. When he was young, he angered the king by entering the valley without permission, and this is what he received as a result. Although he can no longer be a leader who sees the sunlight, there are many things he can still see, and this world is full of spiritual light. Then he tells Kai that he is rich in a noble blue spiritual light. This world is full of spiritual light and the light of spiritual energy. You are rich in a noble blue spiritual light. I can immediately discern that you are the one who receives the valley's protection. In addition to that, we offered a sacrifice. I bestowed my granddaughter Arwa upon the life of the valley. Then we see the rope fall, and Kai rushes to see. He says to himself, "Don't kill people in this valley." Afterwards, he reaches Arwa, saying if only magic could save her. Then Kai asks her to rest for a while, and suddenly, those monsters appear, frightening the children. Kai goes to them and asks, "What have you come here for?" The monster tells him that he carries a message. Then Kai hears this voice saying to them, "Kill them," and it plants fear in them. "Prepare yourself strong," and with him, the old genie said to him, "I will help you, for I also carry a message. I will not be an obstacle in your way. The Kurur of Fakar village swear by our loyalty." Strong replied to him, "We must do something about them now," ordering the monsters upon them. But Kai strikes them, killing them with the first blow, and he kills many of them. She asks the old man to wait for her far away. Then she retorted, "Is this all you can do with Kurur fighting techniques? I leave the rest to you." Kai agrees with the old man's words and takes the knife to fight the monster, saying, "You have defiled this valley. I will not let you leave alive." The monster replies, "This is none of the human's business. This is a Kurur and Orc problem." Kai tells him, "This is my business. You entered this valley without permission. That in itself makes it my business." The monster replies, "I will leave. Please don't kill me." But Kai doesn't agree and uses his magic, saying, "For the peace of the valley, I will kill you now. This valley is mine." The monster is very astonished and begs Kai not to kill him. The monster then attacks Kai, but he blocks him, cuts off his hands, strikes him, and kills him. Everyone is astonished, and then the old man says, "I could feel the blue flame that burned my eyes." He hunts mercilessly, and he also grants mercy, steadfast and unchanging. He is the one who carries the scales of life, the justice that has watched over the world since ancient times. He is indeed the Arbiter. Thus ends today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all the latest updates. Then we see Kai holding the magical stone of the beast and telling them that he killed a guardian for the first time. Then Boric tells him that everyone is excited because he is about to seize the protection of that boar from him. Whoever devours the stone of a guardian absorbs the beast's power and inherits its protection. But one cannot obtain the protection of more than one beast at a time. However, he can still consume the power of a number of beasts and use it to enhance his strength, so that he can continue to protect this valley. Then Kai opens the beast stone and gives Boric his share of it, and they both drink. Then something strange happens to them, and Boric tells him that when a guardian dies, the spirit of their beast returns to its grave, and Kai's condition worsens. Boric realizes that this is the effect of eating the stone of a guardian beast. Kai tells them that he doesn't need help and leaves, deciding to return to the valley later. After that, we see Kai waking up from his sleep after having a nightmare. He is surprised to find Heroi sleeping beside him. She tells him that she covered him with this shawl because she was afraid he would get sick. Kai tells her that he doesn't want her help and orders her to return, but Heroi refuses. She tells him that she will stay with him and that her grandfather said that calamity would befall everyone if she returned, and that she doesn't want to return and wants to stay by his side. Then Kai tells her that he must return to the village quickly and leaves. On the way, Kai finds Boric and his men, and they thank him from the bottom of their hearts for subduing the oppressors. But their homeland is still under attack by the orcs, and they ask him to grant them refuge inside the valley so that they can live there. Kai agrees to this and leaves, and everyone rejoices. Then Kai goes to Josie and apologizes for the delay, and then training begins. Then we see Finn in his mind, searching for Kai, and one of the workers tells him that he has been assigned to the warehouse today. Then we see Zane in the battle arena with Kai, where they will spar together. Kai speaks to himself, saying that he didn't want to draw attention in the first place, so he drew the Baron's attention himself. His trainer advises him not to resort to cheap tricks even if he is desperate. Then the Baron tells him to show him his power. Kai remembers Borik's words and says to himself, I will suppress my power so that my magical insignia does not appear. Then the duel begins between Kai and the Baron. The Baron directs several blows at him. Then we see the magical insignia appear on Kai's face, so Kai immediately hides it until it disappears. The fight continues between them, and Kai grabs the Baron's leg. Josie is surprised and says, what a great kid, he's attacking my father unarmed. Kai tries to lift her father's huge great foot, but he can't. Then Vigen kicks him hard, and he flies into the sky and crashes to the ground. Everyone is afraid for him. Then Vigen laughs a laugh of admiration. I tell him, I'm impressed, man. Starting tomorrow, I will train you myself. Prepare yourself for that day. Then he leaves him and departs, while Josie is talking to her brother, saying, I can't believe he put on such a good performance in front of my father. After that, his friends come to him and laugh at him, saying, maybe we'll be collecting your remains tomorrow. Vigen is very strong, and don't underestimate him, because he will turn you into scattered remains. In the evening, specifically before dawn, Kai gets up after everyone has fallen asleep and runs quickly to the place he goes to every day. He says to himself, finally, I'm off. Josie and Baron Vigen were taking up all my time every day, and now, thank God, I will go to the valley. Indeed, he arrives there, but he is surprised to find a faint light on the opposite side. He goes to see who is there and indeed enters that tent. He finds that it is that girl, Aroi, who was waiting for him. He wonders and asks her, why have you been here all this time? She tells him that she was preparing food for him. He asks her, did you allow the Kuror people to enter the valley? She tells him that no one entered the valley except her. He is surprised that she did all this by herself, and that she prepared a lot of food for him. When he sat down, he couldn't contain himself from this delicious food and starts eating, saying to her, thank you, this food is very delicious. Then he asks for more and thanks her again, as he hasn't eaten this much in a very long time. In the morning, Kai arrives and eats his share, and the cook provides him with an extra portion because he is very hard-working. His friends gather around him and say to him, why are you taking so much? This isn't fair. The cook or organizer gets angry and tells them, silence, you were lazy during work, while he has become very hard-working. Then they sit together and eat. In the evening, Kai returns to his usual place where Aroi was waiting for him, and he returns in the morning to train with Josie. He works repeatedly, and this became his routine every day. He goes back to the valley to do some work there, and then returns to do his main work in porterage and farming. Then they gather around that large rock and try to move it, but none of them can move it. Here, Vigen comes and lifts it up high. Everyone is surprised and marvels at his terrifying strength. How could they not, when his body is full of muscles? He can do even more than this. At night, we find Kai trying to use his magic again, but he doesn't succeed. He still has much to learn as a guardian. The following morning, we find Elsa picking the fruits of the field. Kai comes to her at that time to see what she is doing and if she has seen anything unusual here. She replies that she hasn't found anything, as she was saying to herself only that the fruits are blooming beautifully again this year, as these flowers originally grew from seeds they brought from their village. Kai is astonished by her words, so she continues saying that when their village burned down, they wanted to save at least the flowers. Their village is gone, but there are many more flowers now. Kai asks her if they came to Log Village from the same village as well, or not. Elsa gets annoyed with him because he forgot this, so he tells her that he was still very young when their village burned down. Elsa tells him that he is amazing, as he managed to attract the Baron's attention. He replies that he still has much to learn compared to the Baron and Josie. He must become stronger. For an orphan with no family, he must become stronger. He has friends like Mansu and the others, but he has always felt that he needs to become stronger than anyone else. Elsa tells him that he said the same thing before when he was crying alone. Then she remembers when they were young, when that monster attacked them, as it wanted to hit Elsa, so Kai ran towards her to save her. Then we return to reality and Elsa tells him, I thought we were done for, but Vigen arrived and defeated that macaque. Kai tells her, I was frustrated with the villagers who were content to wait until they were killed one by one, and with myself for being unable to do anything, so I swore to become stronger. Elsa tells him, but you protected us all from the monsters, you haven't changed at all. At night, the enormous beast called Adurkan appears and fights many people and monsters, and the monsters chant his name. Then he says to them, our destination is that wretched valley. Thus ends today's episode of this anime. Stay tuned for future episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all the latest updates. Then we see Kai picking up grains of wheat from the ground, wondering if he can cook this. He thinks about using his power to turn these seeds into rice balls. Then, Elsa comes and asks him what rice balls are. Kai tries to explain that they are like food and taste very delicious, although he hasn't actually tried them but wishes to just once. Then we see his friends who are angry with him because he is delaying work and not helping them, and Vigen orders them to finish this before the inspector arrives. Then we see Ultha asking Vigen if it's really necessary to do all this. The matter would be different if it were something valuable, but surely there's no harm in offering them some grains. Vigen tells him that the village's reserve is low, and some villagers will lose part of their share. Ultha suggests that they should offer gifts to the Central Plains to win their favor and gain more approval than necessary. Vigen tells them that some villagers will end up starving to death. Then we see Kai talking to his friend about the inspector, saying that he is very strong and uses that power to protect the capital of the United Kingdom in the Central Plains. Then we see the inspector arriving, and everyone bows respectfully to him. Vigen welcomes him, and the inspector tells him that the village is full of thieves, as humanoids attacked him on the way. When Vigen sees the arrows, he recognizes them as macaque arrows, and they apologize to Inspector Gu. Then the inspector gets out of the carriage, and everyone welcomes him. He looks at Josie and asks her, "Are you the beautiful girl everyone is talking about?" Josie introduces herself, and the inspector advises her to stay home more and focus on becoming a nobleman's bride instead. Then he looks at Ultha and tells him to put more effort into catching the thieves. Ultha apologizes and tells him that he will personally conduct a search and catch those who attacked him. Then we see one of the men who came with the inspector, and Vigen asks him, "Are you one of the inspector's guards?" The guard tells him that he met the inspector on the way and traveled with him, and he was sent here from the Mass Monastery, and his name is Nada. Then we see the inspector in the crop house, telling Vigen that this is not much, and that the ruler's training can affect the harvest. Perhaps he never practices. He thinks about increasing the crops. Vigen tells him that the harvest is poor due to the recent bad weather. The inspector tells him that he will stay in the village for a while. Then we see Josie with her father, and she is angry with the inspector and his conversation with her. Her father tells her to be polite, as she is talking about Inspector Gondel, who represents the king wherever he goes. And Lag Village belongs to the United Kingdom, and she should not forget that. Then we see Kai with the guard Nada, and Kai tells him that his cloak is dirty. Nada asks him, "Are you the boy who became strong after eating many magic stones?" Kai tells him that he is and introduces himself. Nada tells him that they are similar, as in the monastery he consumed many magic stones as part of his training and gained power. Then the crest of power appears on his face, and Kai realizes that Nada is also a vessel. Then we see the inspector sitting at a table full of food, but he scoffs at it and tells his assistant to bring him more, as he wants a higher level of hospitality than that. Then we see some villagers eating angrily because their share of food is small due to that vile inspector for whom they prepared a lot of food, and they wish he would leave soon. Then we see Vigen with his friends, and Nada tells him that there is a large group of ogres deep in the distant region, and they are very numerous. Surely they have a specific goal behind sending such a strong army, and he suggests following them to find out their objective. And Vigen agrees but says he will choose some people to accompany him. Then we see Kai with his girlfriend, and he tells her that he will be leaving and won't be here for a while, so she becomes very sad. He tells her that he will return again because he has to protect this valley. Then we see everyone leaving the castle with Josie, and we see Vigen talking to Ultha, telling him that he sent Josie, but usually this is his job, but he must target the macaques who attack the inspector. Ultha tells him that he will do his best to catch them. Then we see Elsa giving Kai rice balls before he leaves, so Kai is happy and thanks her. But then he looks a little sad, and she asks him what's wrong. He remembers his mother, who left him many years ago, then takes the rice balls and leaves with the team. After more than an hour, they reach their destination, and Josie asks, "What do you—" But before she finishes her sentence, one of the soldiers comes in a hurry and says to them, "Come and see, everyone. Yes, my friends, it's a group of orcs, killed by people stronger than them, but they don't yet know the identity of those who targeted them. However, according to the analysis, there are many of them dead. Perhaps the orcs were a main army led by a strong individual, but we can't speculate what happened. It seems there is a very strong person who should not be ignored. They will appear in this distant land. Perhaps a very powerful spirit will appear, and its strength will be immense, like a bird soaring high and swooping down on its prey with maximum speed. That person's nature is of light and darkness, evil and good. They should be respected and feared." Kai says to himself, "Who is that person? Could it be the king of the valley I'm going to? Maybe he's looking for me. As for these orcs, they are clearly different from the ones I fought in the valley." After that, they realize that the village has clearly been attacked. Josie goes to the front to see what happened, but they tell her that it's very dangerous, wait. But she tells them, "I won't budge a single step, this is my job. Even if I get killed, I will die an honorable death." They enter and find these people injured. They are a quiet and peaceful type, not hostile to humans. The big problem is that their horns have been torn off. The bigger problem is that there are monsters present, but they are still hiding in that city. And the biggest of all is, where did the city's inhabitants go? We haven't seen any of them. At that moment, Kai goes with that person to search thoroughly for the king of the valley or the person responsible for the large-scale killing. On the other hand, we see Josie following the tracks and finding blood of someone who might be an injured person, hiding in this exact place. The scene shifts to Kai and his companion. They are still searching in this place. The man uses his firepower to illuminate the area, but he says to Kai, "Amazing, Kai. Most people are surprised when they see my fire technique, but you haven't even looked. Perhaps you've seen it before." Kai stutters and says, Yes, I've heard about it." Then they see this place. The scene quickly shifts again to Josie, and the door opens, and they find a dead orc which falls when they open the— As for Kai, they find a secret room with hieroglyphic writing, and the man says, "Since I am not a vessel, I cannot read the writing on these tombstone-like objects without this sign." The priest said, "Since I am not a vessel, I cannot read the writing on these tombstones without this crest." However, the name of the ruler of this tomb is Nazilk Kazel. Kai leaves him and looks at what's in the tomb. He finds the girl lying on the ground and quickly calls the priest. Then they take her out of the tomb next to her friends. They found them all in this area. The priest understands that they were not attacked by the main force of the orcs. According to this girl's clothes, she appears to be the baron of the village. In other words, she is the vessel. They are surprised because it is unusual for a girl to be a baron. Then the priest looks at her closely and finds that her wound is deep. It was caused by an orc axe. Then he takes the sword lying beside her and goes towards the fat man. He compares the tip of the sword with a wound on his chest and finds that it matches. He understands further that the fatal wounds on the orcs' bodies were caused by this girl's weapon. The vessel was the one who defeated those orcs. She fought 3 orcs and managed to defeat them. Josie is astonished that one woman could defeat 3 orcs alone. The priest continues, saying that the horns of the Uzeli are sold at a high price, and the owners of the horns were the first to be attacked. When the girl heard them screaming, she came to them quickly to help them, and to prevent more bloodshed in the village. She played the role of a shield so that the others could escape. The young man replied that the difference in physical and combat strength between the orcs and the Uzeli is vast. The priest replied that she managed to bridge that gap. Her love for her people helped her overcome that great fear. Then he says that he believes that this is a quality that all vassals should possess. Mansu speaks to the priest and asks him if the ruler of this person's land was related to the one he is looking for or not. He replied that there was only one ruler for this land, but he learned something when elves came here, which is that the main group of orcs is in another place. Then he opens the map he has and tells them that the path from the macaque and orc battlefield splits into 2 routes. One leads to this village where the independent orcs appeared, which means that the main force took this direction. Josie told him that this trace leads to the forest, so the ruler's tomb must be there. Kai recognizes the place he is talking about, and tells him that he will go ahead to scout there. He is the one who will go and verify his words himself. The priest agrees to that. Then we move to Polak and his companions, where Kitchak tells him what is happening with Kai and his group. Polak asks him to speak in the human language so that the members of his tribe do not understand what they are saying. Kitchak tells him that, as he feared, the humans are heading directly towards the valley. Polak asks him to gather a number of people to investigate this matter himself, as this old Koror cannot do much, but he cannot remain idle. And thus ends today's episode. If you liked the video, press like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button so that you receive all the latest updates. Our episode begins tonight, as they were in the forest at dusk. Things were very tense. Perhaps there was a macaque nearby, so they needed to retreat very soon, or else they would be attacked by these ferocious beasts. Then we see Oliha, who wants to finish them off. Indeed, my friends, he analyzes the situation and finds a fiery signal specific to these beasts, about 200 meters away, and we find macaques gathered around the fire so the humans lie in wait for them with their supreme leader Oliha. Perhaps these beasts were building a large fortress, as their numbers were very great, maybe requiring a group or force of more than 200 men to defeat them. Oliha wanted to finish them off and attack them, but the man with him said, "It's not possible. We must first request reinforcements from our allies, then return again. Don't let anger control you, or they will kill our entire village." Indeed, my friends. They return to the village, and the soldiers wonder if Kai has found the main Arg force, as everyone depends on him. Josie scolds herself, saying, "I should have gone with him in the end, but it's not too late yet. I must be fast enough to catch up with him." But her friends tell her not to be reckless in that way. At that moment, Nada comes and tells her, "We must trust him. He is very strong. All we can do is trust and wait for his safe return, God willing. But I am sure Kai is safer than any of us think." After that, we see Nada praying and supplicating, invoking his lord to protect that town and bring Kai back safe and sound. On the other hand, we see Kai running very fast, but he is angry and says this is not possible. He jumps until he finally reaches the tracks, which are the tracks of the org, but there are many of them. At that moment, Kai hears some whispers, and someone attacks him with a knife, but he blocks the blow. Afterward, he discovers it is Kitchak. Then we find Boric and his group arriving and surrounding him, telling him that they realized the org were heading towards the valley, so they hurried here to check their movements. Kai tells them, "You could have called me to handle this," but Kitchak tells him that they want to protect that village with all their might, even if it costs them their lives. At those moments, the strong beasts arrive and cut down everything in front of them. They are very strong and there are many of them too, but until this time they have not discovered Kai, Boric, and those with them. Boric tells them that they must advance cautiously, but Kai says to him, "We cannot do that, we must stop them very quickly." But before Kai finishes his sentence, the beasts reveal their presence. On the other hand, we see that inspector who is very angry, eating, drinking, and disturbing people, throwing food on the ground. He is a trivial person, and these are not our customs and traditions. Elisa picks up what that fool dropped. His treatment was very bad, and they cannot stand him. At that moment, Madame Adelia arrived and granted the inspector's request. Later that night, Elisa speaks with Madame Adelia and thanks her for what she did for him. Madame Adelia asks her never to frown, even if the person she admires returns safely, as it will disappoint the inspector. Then the scene shifts to Kai, who is running from the beasts that want to kill him. However, he attacks them and strikes some of them, as he will not allow them to reach the valley. Their leader arrives at that moment, and Kai speaks to Boric asking him if this leader is a wielder of the Covenant or not. Boric replies that he doesn't think any of the Rigdarus would be a wielder of the Covenant. Even among the fierce org, there are exceptional strong warriors who make the Northern Org very powerful. Kai replies and asks everyone with him to retreat because the leader will kill them if he doesn't fight with all his strength. At that moment, we see the priest sitting near Kai to give him strength. The leader speaks to Kai and tells him that he should thank the Bonecrackers who were hunting the Kuror because he found him thanks to them. Boric confirms that they indeed tracked those Ur until they arrived here. After that, Kai runs towards the leader to strike him with his spear, but the leader manages to block his blows, mocking him and telling him to do everything he can. Kai runs at him and then thrusts his spear into the leader's back, but it breaks in half. Then he plunges the spearhead into his body, and the leader falls to the ground. However, he quickly pulls the spearhead out of his back, and suddenly his wounds heal as if nothing had happened. Everyone is shocked by what they see, because even if he were a wielder of the Covenant, he wouldn't heal at this incredible speed. They suspect he is immortal. After that, the leader grabs Kai by the neck, choking him, and tells him that after killing him, he and his followers will invade the valley. Kai decides not to surrender and uses the firepower in his hand, burning the leader's hand with it. The leader quickly throws him to the ground. Then, Kai uses the power of fire to save himself from the beast. The beast says to him, "Do you rely on incantations?" Kai replies, "Next time I will burn you completely." Then he uses the power of fire again and attacks him. This time the fire is very intense. Suddenly the beast kicks Kai with its leg, causing everyone to groan. The beast then says, "My power is always here." The man says, "These individuals use their steadfast power to protect their hosts, and for those who defy the laws of nature in this world, protecting their covenant holders from divine forces is a simple task." After that, Kai says, "His skin is very thick, healing any damage in the blink of an eye, and magic is also ineffective. What am I supposed to do?" Then Kai attacks the beast and strikes it with his sword, but the sword breaks. The beast strikes him, and Kai falls to the ground unable to defeat it. Then, the beast speaks to Kai, saying, "This is a disgrace to you." Kai thinks that he is supposed to protect the valley and the people. Then he takes the food and the beast says to him, "You are preparing to leave. It seems you have lost the will to resist." Kai replies, "In order to defeat the protection of power, I must transcend the natural laws of this world, atoms and molecules. Do you understand?" The beast replies, "Your protection and power will all be ours for the prosperity of the Org race." Then the beast attacks Kai, but Kai blocks his blow and strikes him with great force, cutting off his arms. The beast is astonished. "What have you done?" the people groan. Then the old man says that strange glow is the blade that surpasses the law of nature. After that, Kai attacks the beast again and cuts off its neck. Finally, Kai triumphs over the beast, and the remaining beasts are afraid. Then we go back to the man, who says, "When Kai won, he was able to use a power unheard of in any ancient or modern legend." It has become very interesting. After that, we see Josie, who is a little tired and she faints. Then we return to Kai, who takes the beast's power. Something strange speaks to him, and a beam of light emerges from him, saying, "All this power will be mine." The beasts flee, and Kai falls to the ground. The old man and the children go to him. Then something emerges from the ground and goes up to the sky. This is the end of today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates. Our episode today begins with Kai finally waking from his coma. He asks, "What happened to me?" But no one else knows either. After he ate the magical stone of the armored warrior, a sudden gust of wind, unlike anything they'd ever seen, swept through. This means Kai absorbed the beast's power after it died. But the crucial question is, how is Kai supposed to use this power? He then goes to the lake and talks to them about the last battle. He asks if they noticed a strange gaze, as if they were being watched during their fight. The elder confirms, "Yes, my son, I felt it too. 2 eyes watching us from afar, but I ignored it since I felt no hostility." They then excuse themselves, wishing him good luck, and say they're returning to the valley. He warns them to be very careful. Afterward, he sits on a rock and takes out the rice balls Elisa made for him. He says, "These grains helped save me. Thank you, Elisa," and eats them. He then returns to the village, where he's greeted with, "Welcome back." However, Josie has completely collapsed and her condition is deteriorating. He rushes to her, asking, "What happened to her?" His friend Mansu tells him she suddenly collapsed with a fever. He looks at the mark on her foot. Then, the same man who was watching them with the powerful eye appears and asks, "What did you do, Kai?" But Kai replies, "This isn't the time to talk. Perhaps later. Let's think about Josie first." The man tells him to take Josie to the dwellings immediately. While Kai is telling them what happened, they rush to the valley and find all the orcs torn to shreds. One orc corpse was wearing armor and was likely their leader. But first, they must return Josie to the village of Laj. There will be much to discuss later. Indeed, my friends, they quickly carried Josie and moved her towards her hometown. His other friend tells him, "You have bloodstains, Kai." Kai replies, "I probably got them when I crossed a pool of blood." Konomai lies, even though he's known to be incredibly strong. However, the man watching them knows everything about him. Finally, they reach the outskirts of the village and find arrows scattered everywhere. The situation is very dangerous. Mansu tells them, "We can't bring Josie Senka into a village like this." Kai quickly rushes to investigate and finds Bosco carrying another person. He asks him, "What happened, Bosco?" He explains that they were attacked by macaques in overwhelming numbers, and thanks to God and then the Baron, they managed to repel them with great difficulty. But as he can see, the village was severely damaged, as the macaques were very skilled at throwing stones. He leaves Bosco and quickly moves to check on everyone, especially Elisa. He finally finds her and is relieved. He takes Josie to her father, Farron, and tells them that someone he knows very well did this to the girl and her sister. When he shows them Ulia, he also finds a mark, but it's on his neck. Farron becomes enraged, saying, "How dare those monkeys do this to both my children? I must take the severest revenge." On another front, we see the exploration team surveying the area and finally finding the macaques gathered together. There are more of them, perhaps planning another attack. The exploration team returns to the village to inform the army commander of what they saw. Meanwhile, Kai is still with Elisa and tells her, "Thank God you and your grandmother are safe, but I can't believe the damage extended this deep into the village." He thanks her again, as the rice balls she made allowed him to do many things. At that moment, Mansu arrives with a message, informing them that the Baron wants to see him immediately. Baron Sheeran talks to him about the orcs. As for his children, it might be the result of a curse placed upon them. They also did many things and defeated the strongest fighters to be able to attack the village. Not only that, but according to the scouts, the next attack should be imminent. But Kai, we want you to use your power, which might be able to affect the curse on Ulia and his sister, Josie, and remove it. Farron tells him he will go to the abandoned villages, where he tends to each grave monthly, because Aloha's ruler is in Ilg village and Josie's ruler is in Aida village. Lag village's survival depends on this mission. They are now in a race against time, and rely on him heavily. Next we see Kai and the priest together. The priest tells Kai that he will meet him at the north gate when he's ready. Kai leaves him to talk with Elisa, telling her how delicious the rice balls were. He then informs her that he is going out to complete his tasks, but reassures her that this time he will definitely return. Once he finishes, he'll take her to a special place where they can eat rice balls together. Afterward, Kai meets the priest and notices something in his hand. He asks what it is, and the priest replies it's something from Fyron, and they'll need it to break the curse. He then asks Kai if he's talking to anyone now, but Kai doesn't answer. The priest tells him that inside these gates lies a worldly life he left behind. He was the second son of a poor noble and studied hard to succeed his family's ruler. But he wasn't chosen as the will-bearer. Since he no longer belonged to the household, he went to the monastery. Following that, he began training daily. His life was filled with love, joy, and sometimes sorrow, and this is what they must protect. The priest then takes him to Ilg village. Kai asks how many macaque guards are there. The priest uses his power to take a look and discern how many guards are in the village. Kai is amazed when he sees the aura surrounding the priest. The priest tells him this ability is called 100 Eyes, a secret technique he learned in the monastery, allowing him to see anything, no matter how far away. He then informs Kai that there are 5 guards in the village. They decide to go there and easily kill these guards. At that moment, Kai's power appears on his face, and the priest rejoices, glad to have witnessed it firsthand. He reintroduces himself as Nada, the seeker of truth, sent by Maz to search for the truth of the rulers. He asks Kai to forgive him, as he's asking him to use his fierce power in the United Human Kingdom. Kai tells him to stop talking because they need to lift Ulya Asama's curse. The priest explains that the human kingdom needs a new and strong ruler. He asks Kai if he knows why they need a strong ruler. Kai replies because they want the kingdom to be stronger. The priest tells him that their united kingdom is deteriorating every year. Gundul Zeman is a prime example of this. The will-bearers in the Central Plains who support the king have become immersed in luxury and forgotten their studies. As a result, the power of the rulers who support the king has deteriorated. If the kingdom had its previous strength, an army could have been sent immediately to regain control of the village instead of abandoning it. In this village, the tragedies will only continue to worsen, and their decaying shrines can no longer support the king. We must embrace new allies, even if it means shattering the current hierarchy within the kingdom, says the priest to himself, as he places blood on the wall. The owner of this village serves the owner of Lag village. It is the blood of her will-bearer. The rituals of dispelling are complete. A great change is coming to our world. The macaques attempt to control Lag village by cursing the gravestones and paralyzing the will-bearers shows their desperation. They aimed to weaken and impoverish the people of the land. According to my research, the priest continues, the macaque nation currently faces a grave danger, one that prevents them from continuing to live here. I believe the macaques are invading, in search of a new home. The same applies to the orcs we were chasing. I heard they were threatened by strange creatures from the north. They needed the strength of new people to stop them. At this rate, with such a major change approaching, the human kingdom could be destroyed. Kai interjects. Is that why they sent Rigodoris, like a Dorakan? The priest then asks Kai, can you grant the kingdom the power to save millions of souls? Kai hesitates. But this is too much. Let me think about it. The priest replies, we will head to Aida village next. I await your answer while we dispel the curse there. The scene then shifts to Feyrin, who asks about Ulya. He's informed that the marks are receding, but Ulya remains unconscious, indicating the priest's success. Feyrin states, if Ulya can fight, our forces will be significantly stronger. We return to Kai, who kills a monster to reach a map. The priest places blood on it. Kai expresses this power is so amazing that I didn't know how to use it, but if this is to save the human kingdom, then there will be no other villages like this. Perhaps this is a new way to use it. The priest asks if Kai has gathered his thoughts. If you join your strength, the kingdom will gain the favor of this power. It will enhance your strength even more. You can easily save the people of Lag village and the people important to you. Kai contemplates, what if there are people I need to protect who are not from Lag village? Is it my responsibility to protect them too? The priest then asks, do you mean the Karoo? They dedicated themselves to you in that battle, but I ask you to abandon them. Kai is astonished and shouts at the priest, why should I do that now? The priest responds, the kingdom shrines cannot accept the followers of lowly demi-humans. Humans are born human, and the heavens test them. The idea of associating with other species is out of the question. I ask you to dedicate your full power solely to the United Kingdom. Kai firmly replies, if that's the case, I cannot do it. Will-bearers have the responsibility to protect the land and the people who live there. I cannot serve the kingdom if it means abandoning the people who adopted me, and I categorically refuse your request. The priest says, you are very stubborn. It seems I cannot change your mind. I will give up now. I will find a way to explain the matter to Moss. The scene then shifts to the monsters Kai killed, with other monsters around them enraged by their deaths. We return to the priest, talking with Kai about what's happening in Log Village. Kai replies, I hope they haven't been attacked yet. I'm worried about Josie, Elisa, and the others. Let's go back quickly. Suddenly, the priest strikes Kai in the back, and as he does, something strange happens in the air. This is how today's episode of this anime ends. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all that's new. Then Kai falls to the ground, and the priest tells him that the knife that killed him is a deadly magical weapon passed down through generations in the monastery. It penetrates the defense of the wielder of the prophecy and drains their powers, and any futile resistance on his part will be difficult to deal with. He says that using such immense power solely for his country and people is dangerous and arrogant, and that great power must be controlled by adding it to the kingdom's shrine. When Kai tries to crawl away from the priest, he grabs him by his hair, saying he's just a wretch. Then he pulls the knife from Kai's back, and the priest tells him he'll feel a little pain, then he'll die. Kai then escapes from his grip and strikes him, and we see Kai's wound begin to heal. Then we see the workers toiling in the city, everyone working to enhance security measures so monsters don't attack and kill them. Their leader appears, galvanizing them to fight, telling them he will protect them and the entire city, and that they will face all the monsters together. Then we go to the castle, where we see many sick people in the healing room. Lilisa is sitting beside her mother, reassuring her about her condition. Then we return to Kai and the priest. The priest tells him that his actions could save everyone at the cost of his life. Kai tells him he is compelled to protect the valley and all its people, even if it puts his life in danger. He draws his sword and tells him he will protect everyone. The priest tells him he must give up the Koror, likely a magical artifact or power, but Kai refuses, saying he was granted that magical power to protect this land and its people. Suddenly, a monster appears and attacks them. We also see everyone in the village being attacked by monsters, and everyone takes a defensive stance to protect the town. The monster leader orders them to unleash fire upon the people. Then we return to the priest and Kai. Monsters pursue them and the battle begins. The priest realizes that the three monsters are very strong and will not be easy to deal with. Kai gets angry and rises from the ground, attacking the monsters. The monsters realize that Kai possesses a powerful and strange ability. Then one of the monsters attacks the priest, and as it was about to kill him, Kai immediately intervenes and attacks the monster. The priest then uses his firepower and pushes them back. Then we see the priest and Kai hiding and talking. The priest asks Kai why he saved him, even though he tried to kill him. Kai replies that he doesn't know. His body moved on its own to save him. The priest then realizes the extent of Kai's power and tells him to follow him so they can get out of that place safely and escape from the monsters, as he doesn't intend to die before seeing the extent of the power within him. He then begins to execute his plan. Kai distracts the monsters and enters a maze. The priest uses his magic from afar and tells Kai that he sees him and will inform him of the monster's movements. Kai succeeds in killing two of the monsters, while the third attacks the priest. As it was about to kill him, Kai intervenes powerfully and kills it immediately. The priest is astonished by Kai's strength, but Kai discovers that the priest is injured. Then we go to the palace and see Prince Oha waking up from his illness. He sees his sister Josie, who is also sick. He tells the maid to bring him his battle clothes and his sword so he can fight the monsters and save the city. We return to Kai, who is trying to heal the priest. The priest tells him he thought Kai wouldn't heal him, but would kill him. Kai told him, "Shut up, you idiot, and just drink this." The other replied, "It's no use. They've got my stone now. It seems my search for the truth ends here. I will breathe my last." Kai tries to treat him with his modern medicine, but unfortunately, he couldn't do anything for him, and it seems Nadi has passed away. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Josie when she finally woke up from her curse and says, "Where am I? Is this my father's room? I lost consciousness in that village, but the battle was raging. Macaque had attacked the entire village." Then, her maid comes to her and says, "I have a message for you from the Baron," from her father, that is. The message says, "In times of hardship, you must escape from the village of Lo and save yourself." Josie is surprised that her father said this. Meanwhile, the scene shifts outside, where the fighting was fierce. They were fighting with great courage, for they were protecting their village, otherwise there would be no chance of survival. As for the Baron, he doesn't want his daughter to fight because she is, after all, a woman. The scene shifts when they went out, and Josie sees that her father ordered the evacuation of all women, children, and wounded people in the village to this place to be safe. She tells them, "Brothers, use this room with all its resources, and don't worry. The family of kings and their loved ones will lead and will drive out the subhumans from the village, by God's grace." In the evening, the villagers offer food to the soldiers, for they had been on guard from morning until now. They thank her for this. Then we see the Inspector General, and they ask him if he's trying to join the battle, but in the end he doesn't want to. He tells them, "Quickly open this gate, otherwise I won't be able to return to the capital. I must return to the capital as soon as possible." They told him, "Sir, it's stuck. I'm not strong enough to open the gate." He tries to open it, but they tell him, "Stop, you fool! The Baron has ordered that this gate must not be opened, no matter the cost." If we open this gate, the macaque will enter and destroy the entire village. Stop, please. But the idiotic inspector stabbed him with his dagger and killed him on the spot. Not only that, but he took the girl and threatened them with her, saying, "Get out of my way. I don't care what happens in the village, I only care about my safety. I must leave this place. Get out, or I'll kill this girl." At that moment, his private car arrives, and they tell him, "We are very sorry we are late," but the idiot also ends up opening the gate, and they leave, taking the girl with them, the girl that Kai loves. Everyone tries to close the gate, but unfortunately, it's no use, and then many of the macaque enter. It seems things will get more intense. If you want to know, follow the next episode, but you must be subscribed to the channel and have the bell icon activated so you get it first. Manso and Akiza notice that a girl from the village has been taken hostage in the inspector's carriage, but Master Basco urgently calls them to help defend the gate that's just been breached. As the massive imposing apes charge into the territory, the human warriors slowly retreat, gripping their spears and trying to summon the courage for the battle ahead. When the first Semyon lunges at one of Lag's soldiers, it looks like a massacre is about to begin, until Mlo Vizan storms in and tears the creature apart without hesitation. With his next strike, he brings down 3 more in one blow. After that, the chief orders his men to guard his rear while sending a clear message to the enemy. None of them are getting out of here alive. Meanwhile, sprinting toward the village, Kai knows full well that Lord Vezin and the current Lag forces won't be enough to stop the invading army. He doesn't know how, but one thing's certain: he'll have to tap into the divine power that's been granted to him. Inside the castle, the inner guard is informed that the main gate has been breached, and that Mulak and a few others are desperately holding the line. Given the situation, Flynn suspects the apes are after the divine stone belonging to the land's ruler. In the inspector's carriage, Gandalf believes he's already made his escape, and celebrates the possible downfall of Lag Village. To make things worse, he smugly tells Elsa she should be grateful he saved her, because if she'd stayed behind, she surely would have kicked the bucket. When the creep tries to touch her, she kicks him square in his bloated gut like a pregnant dog. In the heart of the storm, Malak cuts down every simian in sight, hearing them scream for the divine stone. Then Manso, Master Basco, and Akisa burst onto the battlefield, blessing crests glowing on their faces. They're not alone. More fighters rally behind them. Instantly, panic sets in among the apes. Blessed warriors are notoriously hard to kill. Of course, Akisa jokes that they just painted their faces. But hey, it scared the enemy, so it works. While the 3 launch their assault, other soldiers take the chance to shut the gate. Once it's sealed, the invaders inside are cut off. Easy prey for Lag's defenders. But outside, the enemy starts hurling massive boulders that threaten to smash the gate apart. A soldier climbs the wall and sees reinforcements swarming at the main entrance, making things even worse. Malik's men beg him to retreat. After all, he and the god of the land are one. If Bezin lives, the village can be rebuilt. Just then, Kai reaches the outskirts and sees the overwhelming number of semi-humans attacking his home. Even so, he doesn't hesitate. He charges straight into battle. Inside, Ven looks at each and every peasant gathered in the castle and reminds himself that all the people of this land are Mulak's children. With that in mind, he orders Flynn to protect Alha and Hosea. Their gods cannot be taken. As for himself, the chief will stay behind and defend those inside the castle, but he promises to flee if it seems like the battle is lost. Then, with a deafening crash, the gate shatters under the constant barrage of rocks, and the apes storm through. Molo Vizin steps forward to face them, still in peak condition, once again astonishing Bosco and Manso with his godlike strength. In the chaos, a blessed simian manages to force the chief onto the defensive, demanding the divine stone from him. Elsewhere, even though he hasn't fully recovered, Lord Allah steps out into the rain, determined to fight. It's time to show the central region that Mulak's bloodline is still alive. He charges into battle. At the same time, Lady Jose heads to Log's armory, unsure whether she has the strength to fight. She's only just awakened. The first weapon she notices is the spear, once wielded by Yuzuzel, a leader who risked her life to protect her people, even as a woman. That memory gives Yuzuz the strength to press on. At the front gate, Ola unleashes a devastating wave of power, instantly obliterating his first opponent. His presence alone reignites hope among the soldiers. Maybe now, victory is within reach, but despite their renewed confidence, Mala warns that his son still isn't fully healed. He might not be able to carry the weight of Lag alone. Sure enough, Allah stumbles after a poorly placed strike. Just as a counterattack is about to land, Josie leaps in and blocks the blow meant to kill her brother. Armed with a spear and shield, she intercepts the Monkey Key's axe, though the brute sneers at the idea of facing a blessed female. Jose feels the impact shake her down to the chest like her heart might leap from her throat. She tosses aside her shield to move faster, then proves swift enough to separate the ape's head clean from its body. Inspired by the success of Malak Vin's bloodline, Manso rallies the soldiers to follow the Blessed Warrior's lead and give it everything they've got. With morale soaring, the humans pierce through the enemy ranks, slaying an incredible number of apes, many of whom seem disoriented after their string of losses. Lord Alhath crushes an enemy's skull with his bare hands, vowing to never accept this curse without a fight. At the same time, Mulak regains the upper hand and drives the sharp tip of his weapon straight into the Blessed Simeon's face. After the kill, the chief humbly admits he underestimated his daughter simply because she was a woman. But not anymore. She's become a truly formidable warrior. Even so, the dying apes sneer that a single blessed female won't be enough to save Lag. There are more of them already at the front of the village, but when Vezin glances past the broken gate, he sees something unexpected. the semi-humans are turning back and retreating. Back inside the castle in the infirmary, Lalisa prays for the god of the land to protect Lag and its people. Near the main gate, clouds of dust rise like a storm, as if an all-out battle were unfolding at the entrance of the village. Out of nowhere, Kai bursts into the air amid the chaos, and Molo hurls a weapon toward him. Now armed, the young defender of the valley makes it clear the attackers won't set foot inside the castle. And what already seemed easy for Kai now feels like child's play. His weaponry gives him an even greater advantage. Everyone around the battlefield, from the monkey chief to the human warriors, couldn't help but wonder if that was really Kai. His combat abilities felt otherworldly, almost divine, as if a god had descended to tear through anything in his path. Mulak, watching closely, finally understood the strength Lag had been missing was now standing before them. Sometime later, after wiping out the enemy army, Kai sees one of the blessed apes charging at him with full force. With a single blow, he crushes the attacker. Witnessing this, the monkey leader retreats, without daring to get near the boy who annihilated his troops. And with the enemy in full retreat, the forces of Lag raise their banners and declare victory. As the sun rises over the horizon, Lord Allah stares at his chipped sword and sigh. He tosses it aside and turns to Awi, asking if he fought well. She tells him the village is safe thanks to his efforts. But Ola disagrees. It was the kid he once called a low-ranking soldier who truly saved them all. Speaking of him, Mol asks Kai about the whereabouts of Lord Natada. The young warrior explains that after lifting the curse in Ed village, they were ambushed by 3 blessed apes and the monk was killed. Mol can't understand how a monk, who could manifest a divine crest without a god's blessing, could fall. Kai assures him the monk fought with honor to the very end, though he regrets not giving him a proper burial. Bazin then promises to send soldiers to recover the holy man's body. Right after, Melissa tells Kai that her sister still hasn't returned. She left in the middle of the war to deliver food to the troops. Manso says he saw a girl being taken away in Inspector Gondal's carriage. The moment Kai hears that, he's convinced it was Elsa, and without a second thought, he bolts out of the village. Vizan wonders what the boy could possibly do against an inspector, and Manso is baffled at how this kid expects to catch up to a moving carriage. Meanwhile, Gandalf notes they're still about 1,000 from the capital. He casually tells Elsa they still have a long journey ahead of them, but things aren't going as smoothly as the royal inspector had hoped. Suddenly, a thunderous sound barrels toward him. He activates his crest to scout the area and spots the blessed boy from Log Village sprinting his way. Determined to maintain his noble pride, Gandalf grabs his bow, aiming a shot at the oncoming runner, but Elsa bumps into him at the last second, throwing off his aim. Furious, the inspector draws his sword to strike back, but the scuffle unsettles the horses, making the carriage shake violently. The chaos peaks when the carriage crashes into a rock and flips over. Thrown hard onto his back, Gandalf tumbles out of the wreck while the coachman runs off, chasing the panicked horses. Kai finally catches up. He finds Elsa with a severe wound in her abdomen and tries to heal her with magic. But the injury is too deep, she isn't recovering. By now, Gandalf has already used the power of his crest to force his shattered spine back into place and stand. Seething with rage, Kai demands to know if Gandalf stabbed his friend. The inspector blames Kai, claiming it was the boy who startled the horses and caused the crash. As Kai hesitates, Gandalf pushes further, saying it's Kai's fault Elsa is dying, that he gained more power than he deserved, especially since Lag was only ever meant to have 3 blessed ones. He swears he doesn't know who the brat is, but if Kai dares raise a hand against a royal inspector, he won't get away with it, not under the king's law. Kai's patience runs dry. He grabs the man by the throat and begins to choke him. Yet Gandalf continues. In this world, those with divine power rule over the weak. Only nobles have the right to wield it. A fool like Kai will lose control and more lives will be lost. But Kai doesn't flinch. He tears the inspector's heart from his chest, a wart-covered toad. He mutters and remembers it can save Elsa. He quickly hands Elsa the divine stone from Gondal's body. But she, barely conscious, refuses the premium drink, saying she no longer has the strength to keep going. Kai insists the stone will restore her spiritual and physical energy, that they'll be able to stay together forever. At those words, Elsa finally gives in and swallows the substance. And though Kai clings to hope, the moment the divine stone enters her body, a violent reaction surges through her. Elsa passes out instantly. With no time to waste, Kai knows there's only one chance left. He must find Pork, the leader of the Corals. As he carries Elsa on his back, the monkey chief who had fled from Log watches silently from afar. Eventually, Kai reaches the Coral tribe and informs Pork of what happened, that he gave Elsa the inspector's divine stone. The leader's face darkens. That was not a wise move. Kai, confused, asks why. After all, the stone is supposed to heal, but Pork explains the issue. The stone came from someone of her own race. Consuming a divine stone from another human without proper preparation can cause lethal poisoning. Elsa's life is now in serious danger. There's only one way to stop it, and although Pork fears they may not have enough time, they have no choice but to try. With that, the procedure begins. While Pork boils a detoxifying Ura brew to make Elsa throw up the marrow she consumed, Kai steps out of the tent, head down, already blaming himself for everything that's happening. Deep down, he truly believes that ever since he gained so much power, all he's done is bring chaos. To make matters worse, the leader of the apes arrives at the Coral's village with 2 of his subordinates. Instinctively, Kai summons his magic blade, but then, in a completely unexpected move, the apes bow before the one blessed by the valley. Their leader thanks the ancestral spirits for the guidance Kai has brought them. According to him, that crest belongs to the god of the throne. and they've been praying for the great deity to come to their domain. Stunned, Kai tries to make sense of what's going on. Check out these videos appearing on your screen and subscribe so you don't miss the next. Then we see Barrick talking to the nurse, who tells him about Ilara's condition, stating that they did their best and are awaiting the results. Barrick then goes out to tell Kai about it, only to find him standing before a group of subdued monsters. He's surprised by this. One of the monsters then speaks, introducing himself as Torod, and asks Kai to listen to them. He tells Kai that their land has become corrupt. Kai asks what he means by that, and Torod replies that their land, called Makak, is named Hygo. And because of him, Hygo's land and water have been corrupted, and all their food is gone. All they can do is await their destruction by the evil Diabo. When Kai hears that name, something strange suddenly happens in his head, and he tells them that he was an enemy of that villain and that they had fought before. He immediately refuses their request, telling them that the people of Lag Village died because of their attack, so it's impossible for him to help them get rid of that villain, Diabo. One of the monsters tells him that they indeed killed many people from Lag Village, but they also lost many of their own, and if he refuses to help them, they will eliminate the rest of the villagers. Kai becomes enraged and tells him that he will kill them all. Torod tries to calm the situation and apologizes to Kai, but Kai doesn't accept the apology and enters the tent, sitting next to Ilara. He asks about her condition, and the elder tells him they gave her many medicines, and the rest depends on her physical strength. He then asks Kai what he will do with those monsters. Kai tells them that he won't help them, as they are the ones who put Ilara in this situation. He is advised not to refuse, as it would endanger the entire planet, as the man called Diabo is very dangerous and will wipe out the world. Kai begins to be convinced by the words. He then leaves the tent and goes to sit alone under a tree, reflecting on the previous conversation. He decides that he will save the world, and leaves. He then returns to the monsters, and tells everyone that he will go to Log Village and will think about it first. Kai then goes to the village, and his friends approach him to check on him. They ask him about the rogue Gandil, and he tells them that he escaped him, but he informs them that Ilara's condition is not good at all. He then tells them that there's something he wants to tell the Baron. He goes to the Baron and tells him that the macaque will attack again. Everyone starts making suggestions to secure safety and be ready to face any attack on the village. As Kai leaves, the Baron tells him that he is impressed by his outstanding performance in battle, that he saved many lives, and thanks him very much. Then we see the maid entering Prince Orha's room to give him food, but she doesn't find him in the room. We see Orha walking in the palace. Then we go to Kai and find the girl, Lilisa, Ilara's sister, asking him about her sister's condition and where she is. He tells her that Ilara is not well but will recover soon. The girl cries and leaves immediately. Then Josie approaches Kai and tells him not to be sad, as he has done a lot for the village and its protection, and he will surely save everyone with his strength in the end. Then Prince Orha appears, looks at the killed monsters and asks Kai if these are the prey he killed. The maniac says, yeah. Prince Orha appears, looks at the killed monsters, and asks Kai if these are the prey he killed. There are so many. You are truly amazing. But tell me, why do you look like this? You seem so angry. You should be happier. You killed all these apes. You should be proud of yourself and hold your head high. Kai replied, I don't feel proud. The other person grew angry. How can you be despairing after all this victory? Come on, hold your head high. You are someone important now, and you should only bow to God. But Orha also seemed to be speaking from the heart, and this became evident when he rushed to the carcasses and exclaimed, These should be my prey. I should have been the one to kill them, but I was cursed then. He then grabbed his sword and struck the dead prey. His sister told him, Brother, don't do this. Kai killed them all. Kai rushed to him and said, Calm down, Orha. But Orha became angry and told him, Silence, leave me alone. Then he kicked Kai, pointed his sword at him and said, Don't get too excited, you fool. You'll never surpass me. Kai replied, I don't care about that. I just want a safe and peaceful country. How long will we keep fighting? We should unite and try to spread peace in the region, or else it will be a third world war. He then left him and departed. Here, Orha spoke with his sister, saying, How dare that boy preach to me? He isn't even a wielder of the will. His sister said, No, I'm not entirely sure about that, he told her. Enough of your foolishness, you idiot. Don't contradict me or I'll flay you. The scene shifts to Kai when he went to Commander Figan. He said, Allow me, Commander Figan, to inquire about the macaque matter. I will return in a few days. Figan said, How can this be, Kai? You just returned, and yet you want to leave the village again? You are hiding something from me, aren't you? Kai stammered, No, I'm not hiding anything, the commander told him. Confess, you fool. I'm not stupid, but I'm sure there's something on your mind. But there's something I need to tell you. Something the strong should consider. You've shown power almost equal to that of a will wielder. You possess the strength. With your power, you can climb over walls that ordinary people cannot climb or even break. Now leave and take care of yourself. Then Kai went to Josie and his friend Manso. Manso gave him a new spear and began giving him some advice for a safe return. Josie also gave him a new knife. Kai asked her, How is this? It's yours. She told him, No problem, consider it a gift from me to you. Kai took it and left, wondering if he would be able to return again or if he would die. But he had made up his mind and accepted the task. He was determined to do everything in his power. He then returned to Boric and the apes, who were still there. Kai told them he agreed, but on the condition that they would not attack the human village during his absence. They swore to him. Then, dressed, he told her he would leave now. After that, he went to check on Lealissa, but she was still unconscious. Then he left, and they gave him a large battle axe. They set off on a very difficult journey. Finally, Kai arrived at Higo village. This is the graveyard of those who died. They were killed by Diabo, a cursed person who corrupted much of the land, killing plants, fish, and everything. Then, they reached the village elder, Abredor, and ascended to him. What's the story, and what's behind it? Follow the next episode to find out everything. Our episode today begins with Kai finally reaching the leader of the apes. Kai speaks to him from behind a curtain and says, "Tell me what happened, chief. I will make my decision to help you or not based on what you tell me. Where did this great demon Diabo come from?" The ape leader speaks to him from behind the curtain and says, "This thing was summoned by the darkness of the macaque. He was drinking wine, living a life of luxury, extravagance, debauchery, and immorality. His followers also lived in complete apathy and stole our people's wealth. They ignored the suffering of the people and became corrupt to the core. Then the kingdom began to fall apart, one after another. After being defeated in a power struggle, one of the former king's sons headed to the far north in search of new lands. His name was Shandor. Although he was the former king's son, his options for kingdoms were limited. Younger sons had usurped his position, but he resorted to any necessary means, thereby making more and more enemies. But from here, everyone united, as the northern tribes who hated him cast many curses upon him and bound him. But here, a real miracle happened upon his return to Ugo. The accused former king fed on his brothers and remained there. And as long as Diabo is there, our country will vanish, and my protection will weaken. After that, their king comes out, but he is overwhelmed by power and says to him, "We must act. We will become monsters in mind." Then he pleads with him, "Please, Kai, help us." At that moment, a premonition comes to Kai, which always comes to him, saying, "Destroy, destroy, destroy Diabo, destroy Diabo." Kai agrees and tells them, "All right, let's go." On the other hand, they set off in the darkness and speak to Kai, telling him that Diabo is accused of devouring the royalty in the city of Dioshi, which is the castle of the macaque king. Finally, they reach his place and his castle. Here, he besieges them, and I know that a group serves the royal family, but we don't understand anything from them as they speak a non-human language. One of the macaques, who translates the language via Google, slight smile, says, "They are asking us to leave so they can kill Diabo." Kai tells them, "I am on your side now, I will kill him." But they tell him, "We don't need you now, take your friends and leave immediately." But here, something very strange happens. Strange claws emerge from that cave, terrifying everyone. Kai tries to enter, but they tell him, "Leave, boy." But Kai hits him with a strong blow and knocks him to the ground. Then they quickly enter the place. Here, everyone is surprised, as it is a very powerful monster that feeds on other monsters and absorbs their strength. But the smell was extremely foul and unbearable, truly like a garbage dump. Kai decides to kill that monster. At that moment, a very strong girl named Zaina arrives. Everyone knows her. She is the youngest member of the royal family, but she is just a beginner, according to the macaque's analysis. But Zaina surprises them. She has a very powerful white wolf that she controls and directs wherever she wants. That Fenrir unleashes its fiery attack on the monster Diabo, but after a minute, everyone is shocked that the monster is still the same. It seems to be fire-resistant. She tries to give it another command, but it doesn't respond to her order. At that moment, these people rush to him and give him sedatives. The wolf pounces on its prey, but the monster was very strong and hits it with a powerful blow, knocking it to the ground, so much so that its injury was severe. Kai rushes quickly and tells them, "I will intervene in that battle, or things will get worse." The great Kai takes over, then treats the wolf and says, "Thank God it's not dead yet, but it's greatly weakened. I can now try an electric shock to strengthen its pulse, but I'm not sure if this is correct or not. I will do this." But at that moment, he remembers when he gave strength to his beloved, and the doctor told him, "You have given her great strength, she could die." Kai says to himself, "Am I that strong?" His hands begin to tremble. He wonders, "What am I doing now?" Then he sweats profusely. From here, the monster pounces on him with its limbs, but everyone immediately protects him. Then Kai does something very strange, which looks like advanced surgical procedures. He seems to be in the deep ocean, then finds that glowing stone and unleashes a great energy on it. From here, the wolf finally awakens. Here, Kai lunges towards that cursed monster and wants to attack it and stab it in the heart, but he can't. Then Zaina recalls some of her memories when her brother hit her and told her, "You won't be good for anything. You are too weak to even defend yourself, so how will you defend the country? What a disgrace." Everyone mocks her as if she were a white chicken, but she made a vow to herself that she would gain strength. Her only path to survival is to gain that great power and train every day, even if it means dirtying these hands and tainting herself with hatred. She indeed uses that stone and gains immense power. She says, "I will kill you, great monster, and seize your power to change this corrupt world." Then she quickly goes down to the wolf and tells it, "What are you doing? Hurry and finish him off, or he will finish all of us." Kai tells her, "Stop, Zaina. His wounds haven't healed yet. She tells him, "Stop, you peasant. You don't understand anything about royalty, so you shouldn't tell me what to do. Leave me alone. I can tell that you were born in a rural village, but tell me, where did you get this great power? Did you steal it from someone?" While they are arguing, the wolf gets up and takes off. It seems to have gained resistance to poison and become stronger. It lunges at Diabo, but the other kicks it away after the wolf bit it with a very strong bite that made it radiate like nuclear radiation in the sky. So much so that Josie and her father saw that radiation. Everyone is on edge, waiting. Perhaps it's the end. Then Diabo transforms and had many branches as he split the earth explosively. Then he sends his arms at everyone, but the wolf was ready for him. All Diabo could do was wrap around it and try to devour it. Xena rushes to save it with her shrine before it's devoured, but Kai saves her at the last moment. Episode question: did the monster kill the wolf, or will we notice something else? Wait for the surprises of the final episode in the next episode. But you must subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates. Our last episode begins when Kai and his companions were attacking the Great Diabolo. Grandfather tries to fight with them, but the little girl tells him, "No, Grandpa, you'll be devoured by the Diabolo. It's very dangerous. When it devours someone, they don't return." We still don't know Kai's fate. If this big monster ate him, perhaps that won't be the case. Let's see what happened next. Everyone is very angry and on high alert, but they are very sad about what happened. Kai sacrificed his life to save them. We see Fenrir the wolf, bound by the Diabolo, and Kai was still inside, alive but unable to move. He could do nothing. Is this perhaps the end? Yes, my friends, it is the end. After that, we see Kai, perhaps dreaming or in another realm, and the obsession that always speaks to him says, "Kill the Diabolo! Kill the Diabolo!" But Kai cannot move. The obsession finally appears to him and says, "Kill the Diabolo by developing yourself and transcending limits. No more time. The world is ending, and perhaps many of your friends and loved ones will end with it. Get up. You have one last chance." Clouds spread everywhere. Everyone is scared. Are these the signs of the great hour? We don't know yet. Meanwhile, we see Kai again, finally waking up and saying, "I won't let it absorb any more of my life. I must focus with all my strength." And indeed, he regains his powers, and something strange happens. The Diabolo releases Fenrir, and everyone notices something strange. Something is about to happen now. Yes, my friends, a being emerges, like an intercontinental ballistic missile, destroying any defense system in its path. Everyone is surprised how it came out of the belly of this evil monster, and it looks different. It's very strong. The monster tries to catch up with it and bind it, but it cannot. Then, Kai uses his weapon and strikes a powerful blow, and the moment has come for Kai to eliminate that giant monster. At that moment, the monster tries to escape, but Kai and the wolf catch up to it, increasing their speed. The wolf runs and then leaps into the air, tearing the monster's body. Then Kai delivers his decisive blow, splitting the monster in half. But something very strange happens here. The monster transforms again, growing arms and legs, then gets up and escapes quickly. But it will not escape its punishment, for Kai has made his decision and wants to kill it. The monster runs and targets some of the leaders to regain its strength again. It was very fast, so Kai calls out to Xena and tells her, "Don't let that monster escape. Go, surround it and prevent it from moving." The soldiers were on high alert with their barriers, trying to slow its escape. At that moment, Kai jumps behind it and tries to grab the stone, the power stone of that monster. He must tear it apart before chaos breaks out in all the land. And indeed, he tears it apart. But then something stranger than imagination happens. That goat-like thing emerges and looks at Kai, trying to attack him. As for the monster's entrails, they recover their health again and attack the soldiers. The soldiers try to kill them before they merge with each other again. Then we see Xena swooping down on that sheep with her weapon, but she's not strong enough. Kai tries to run and help her, then extends his hand and tries to remove that stone, the stone that gives it power. But something even more exciting and thrilling happens, as that body transforms into another body. From here, Kai extracts the stone of power that contains everything, and thankfully the matter ends. Then, they see something strange in the water of the stone, as if something is coming out of it, while an explosion shakes the surroundings and a stormy wind sweeps across the entire place. As for the world outside, things begin to return to normal. The black clouds dissipate and the sun shines brightly. As for Kai and his companions, they see strange things, perhaps a world we do not know. Then Kai loses consciousness. Meanwhile, we see Zendo, that man, and Xena tells him, "You have committed a lot of filth and foolishness, Zendo. You must be punished." The scene shifts to Kai after he finally wakes up from his sleep, finding himself in the Macau world. He goes out to everyone and the leader tells him, "We have prepared a lot of food for you, all this for you." Kai rejoices and eats a lot, for he has formed a friendship with more than 10,000 macaques. Then, Kai and his group leave the place, and Xena meets him to thank him for everything. When he met Xena, he asked her why she came there, and she told him that she was to be considered the queen, and she came to thank him because he saved her, for he was the one who killed the Diabolo. Then she told him that he had received the king's blessing, and that from now on, she was the queen of the macaques. Kai was surprised because Abracor and his macaques did not recognize her as queen. Xenia told him that she would make them. Then she asks him to tell her what he desires, and she will grant him one wish. Kai thought for a moment, then asks her to free Direwolf. Xenia agrees to this, then tells him that she was forced to give up on fulfilling the requests of the people who serve her. But Direwolf is now free. Then she tells him that she heard he had accepted an alliance with Abrador, then bids him farewell, for she does not know when she will see him again, but it is likely they may meet on the battlefield. Kai bids her a warm farewell as well. After that, Kai returns to his hometown and meets Gus, who asks him how he is. He replies that he has completed his mission and there are no more macaques here, as he chased them deep into the forest for days, and he is sure they have all left. Gus tells him that winter is approaching, and the subhumans will hide and enjoy some peace and quiet for a while. After that, Kai gives her this sword and tells her that when she gave him this sword, she told him that he could not fight with full strength if he had doubts, and she was right. Her words saved him. Gus is very happy because he has changed a lot from before, as if he suddenly matured. Kai was flustered at that moment, then told her that he had just cut his hair. At that time, Kai's friends come to welcome him because they haven't seen him for a long time. Then we see King Fegan looking at Kai from his balcony, asking his assistant Basco about Kai, whether he thinks he has changed or not. Basco tells him that he hasn't changed much. Urha comes at that time to see Kai, saying to his father that although the macaque attacks have stopped, they have other concerns. His father understands that he means the disappearance of Inspector Gandil. Basco tells them that he sent scouts, but he hasn't reached any other village yet. The maid interrupts and says that she heard that one of the village girls disappeared in the same way. Urha is very worried because the Central Plains will fuss about this matter and blame Lag Village for his disappearance, so Fegan is forced to ask the local count to intervene in the matter. But as for Lim, the sons of Moloch and this land are safe. Then the scene shifts to Kai with his friends, chatting with them for a while, then he goes to Elsa to check on her. He finds that Arwa is taking care of her, then she tells Kai that she is sure Elsa will be fine. Kai looks at Elsa for a while and tells her that he promised her to take her to a special place one day, and perhaps he can take her to the valley, for it has become a new state. Then he will bring her little sister here. Arwa reassures him and tells him that she is sure that day will come, and that one day he will build a new state for them to live in peace. And on the night of that day, this girl comes and asks everyone to bring Kai to her. When Kai came to her, she told him that her name was Niran from the Uzil, and they want to join his pack. She is the only daughter of their chief and inherited a lot from her father, and it is her duty to protect her tribe. Kai is shocked by her request and does not know what to do, and so, the last episode of this anime ends. If you liked the video, press like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates.